Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Bharat Varta Sports. We're starting a new series to cover the IPL, where I'll be joined by some folks you would have seen and heard regularly on Bharat Varta before. First up, we have Mehek, who is an avid sports fan and has a great understanding of the game of cricket. So, hi Mehek, how are things?
Hi Shri, things are good. Nice match last night. Watching Mumbai lose is always fun.
Right. I think Nirav will probably want to respond to that later. So we have Nirav, who is a cricket enthusiast and a budding cartoonist. Earlier, you would have heard him talk about banks and the economy, but today probably he'll talk about the economy rates of bowlers and so on. So, hi Nirav, welcome to this episode of Bharat Varta Sports.
Yes. I think as Mike pointed out, like Mumbai is always like a slow starter. Hopefully, like the Chennai sojourn is done, and now they move to like Delhi, Bangalore, Kolkata, and soon you shall see them climbing up the table. So for Mumbai fans, not to worry too much.
Yes. Finally, we have Abhishek Paul, another familiar voice on Bharat Varta. You would have seen him on multiple episodes on sports, cricket, and also on politics. Hi, Abhishek. I guess you must be happy to see RCB on top of the table.
Hi, what's up? Yeah, pleasantly surprised for now.
Right. Guys, so I'll come to each of you on this first. In terms of the top four today, any surprises? Let's start off you with you, Mehak.
So I think the biggest surprise has to be Royal Challengers being unbeaten after 4 games. They've always had a decent team, but just lacking in bowling is something that was a major drawback for them. But maybe it's because they played their first 3 matches in a bowling friendly place. Helped their lesser bowlers come to the fore. Harshal Patel is leading the purple cap charge, right, which is a big thing for them. And obviously, the bet on Maxwell has paid off in the first 3 matches. Nobody expected him to have the kind of impact. Like I would say, his impact this time has been even greater than what it was in 2014 because back then, people still expected him to do well, and he was doing that on good batting pitches. Right now, he scored these runs on pitches where Mumbai haven't even touched 160, and with every subsequent match, their score has been falling. So 3 matches in Chennai, and Maxwell really carried the batting for them. Obviously, AB also did really well in a couple of games, but that extra man that they have in the batting lineup, something they've lacked since Chris Gayle left the franchise. That along with Harshal Patel's emergence as a good death bowling option have gotten Bangalore to where they are. The other surprise I would say is Mumbai Indians. I like to joke about them, but I always thought they're rounded enough to have the answers on in all conditions. But clearly, a big ground and a slow pitch have been enough to contain their middle order hitters. Something I hadn't expected. So they're probably lucky that they've won 2 matches, because even in those 2 games they were in a losing position with about 5 to 6 overs left in the match.
Yeah. Nirav, your thoughts? Nirav, you're doing what I do usually, which is talking on mute.
Yes. Sorry, I did a vatsa there, but like I think he's mentioned about like Bangalore and Mumbai, and those are like the obvious two. I am like pretty surprised about like Chennai Super Kings because I felt, to be fair, like they've been a powerhouse previously, right? But they have like an aging team, and they have a lot of people you would say are like a bit past their prime, and so I felt probably even in terms of like team dynamics, they didn't have like the middle order hitting power, and I felt probably like bowlers like Bravo is a little bit old. Sam Curran doesn't bowl well at the death, but they've used the whole team resources quite well, and that's been a surprise. And it's a very positive surprise. Another team where I think which is kind of not done well at all has been like Rajasthan Royals. Agreed that it's not a team after I think winning for the first one which they won under Shane Warne. It's not a team which has done very well, but I think Sanju Samson showed some like very aggressive batting, and you feel the team has enough resources. Though they have been like now lost Ben Stokes to injury and Jofra Archer to injury who didn't even play a single game. So that is a bit of a surprise, bit of a letdown that they are like at 8th in the table. But who knows? I think here no team has a home ground advantage. And as we move around different stadiums, I think people will have a different strategy for each particular venue. And as teams kind of get their playing 11 right, we could see a lot of movement out here.
Yeah. Abhishek, anything you want to add?
Yeah, to add on, I mean, I've been a little surprised with Sunrisers Hyderabad. I'm not sure exactly what is happening with that squad. They seem to have a lot of sort of fringe Indian players making the 11, and it's not, the team is not really looking good. Even though Bairstow is probably still in some good form, but other than that, and of course they always have Rashid Khan, so they compete. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think they're underperforming to at least my expectations. And one curious thing I noted this season is a lot of bowlers getting 4 or 5 wicket hauls. So I was just looking it up. So like the last IPL, the entire IPL had 1 5-wicket haul and about 7 4-wicket hauls, while already we have had 2 5-wicket hauls and 4 4-wicket hauls. So something probably to do with the pitches at Chennai or whatever, Mumbai this time. But I mean, Deepak Chair got 2 4-wicket hauls in already 4 games. I mean, it's quite surprising and interesting to note, and most of it with the new ball as well. So
Right.
that was something interesting.
Right. So let's move on to the individual teams. We'll start with the 2-time defending champion MI. Usually Sir Alex Ferguson always used to say that winning a 3rd title in a row is the most difficult, right? And that's what MI set out to do this time. And at this stage, it doesn't look great for them. So Nirav, your thoughts on how MI have done so far and what can they do to kind of turn the tide?
So I think one thing is, like if you look at the MI team, last 3 seasons, it's been pretty stable. You've got like a very good core. So they've got all the bases covered. So every team you see has got one good bowler at the death, one good opening bowler at bowl swing, usually a left armer. You've got like opening batsman, one who kind of goes all out attack, the other one who builds up slowly. So Rohit Sharma plays the attack of like kind of sheet anchor in a T20 sense, like starts off a little circumspect, but then goes and accelerates towards the end. You had the power hitters, like Pandya brothers, Pollard. You had Surya Kumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan, like continuously attacking in the middle overs. So I think what has happened is maybe on the slower turning tracks of Chennai, and so their hitters are being caught out more on the boundary. And so I think that kind of calculation, I think that has gone awry. Second thing is what they're really missing is Pollard is not really a good enough 6th bowler. Hardik Pandya can't bowl due to back injury or fitness. And this has kind of made the 5th, 6th bowler a little bit iffy. Even like Krunal Pandya is not a bankable bowler always. Though he's economical, he's the one who doesn't take too many wickets, whereas Rahul Chahar takes more wickets. And so I think they've got a few things. I think the team is quite set. Maybe few people might be too comfortable in their positions. So for example, maybe Chris Lynn could come in for De Kock. Maybe Jimmy Neesham can come in for Pollard. Maybe like with a slightly better bowling, maybe not as aggressive hitting as Pollard. And then you could have like Jayant Yadav play instead of Krunal Pandya. So I'm saying a few things could be shaken up. One thing I really like about Mumbai Indians is their scouting. And one real surprise package was Marco Jansen. Uh, he's done okay for like an uncapped player who's not even a regular in the state team in South Africa. He's done kind of okay. Maybe he comes back, plays again on like pitches which are not turning that much. And as Mumbai goes to New Delhi, Firozshah Kotla is a smaller ground and a little more batsman friendly. So I think Mumbai middle order will kind of step up and win a few more matches from here.
Good insights there, Nirav. I think we'll move on to Delhi Capitals, who are currently third in the table. They've done reasonably well, I think. And with Ponting as a coach and a lot of youngsters, and with some change in management with the Jindals coming in, their performances have definitely improved. So Mehak, what do you think they've done well so far, and how could they? Last year they made it to the final. Can they go one better? What do they need to do for that?
I think a very good sign for them has been the return to form of Prithvi Shaw. Still early in the tournament, but he's done well and done enough to ensure that Dhawan has the time to settle in before he starts going for his boundaries. So that is something that has been good for Delhi. Avesh Khan has 8 wickets, I think, in 4 matches. So that's a major boost for them, because the first 3 matches were at the Wankhede, where obviously playing Amit Mishra would have been a risk. Subsequently, obviously Mishra came in for the first match in Chennai and ran through the Mumbai middle order. So Avesh Khan helped hold the fort during the Wankhede leg. Mishra came in, took the wickets in Chennai. And I think the next 5 matches are after the game in Chennai, they have 5 matches in Ahmedabad, which again, big ground. Mishra might have some success there as well. The one problem for them has been the middle order. You sort of expected it because Shreyas Iyer was ruled out for the season. So, filling that void was never going to be easy. And you saw first couple of games, they tried Rahane, didn't come off. Then they brought in Smith. He played a reasonable innings in Chennai in the context of the match, but they definitely need a lot more from him and from Hetmeyer and Stoinis. Pant is kind of caught between playing his natural game and just letting go, especially because he's captain now, so he has that much more responsibility on him. And but that might come back to haunt them later on. But at least in the league phase, if Dhawan keeps batting the way he is, they should find it pretty easy to make the playoffs and probably be in the top 2 as well. 3 years ago when Sunrisers traded him for 3 assets, Shahbaz Nadeem, Vijay Shankar and Abhishek Sharma, everyone thought that Delhi were crazy to do what they did, but Dhawan has only been better since then compared to his previous years. So that's a major plus for them. And I definitely see them making the top 2. Whether they win from there on or not is a case of are they good enough on the day of the final. That's it.
So moving on, we come to the surprise at the top of the table, which is RCB, who seem to have done well in conditions that should not suit their stroke players ideally. But Mehak covered some of the success of the bowlers, Abhishek. So what do you think? Do you think they can sustain this momentum and continue to build on it? Or do you think that with a change in venue, we'll kind of see the old RCB back again?
Yeah, so I think, if you look at their bowling, their pace bowling is shaping up really well this season. So Siraj is opening the bowling, and, he's had a really economical tournament so far. Like, he's barely giving about 6 runs per over. So that is really good. Harshal, as Mehak mentioned, has been a surprise of the season so far, right? He's now almost like a death bowling specialist. He's starting off after the 10th over and bowling 4 overs, and he's definitely got his rhythm in terms of the Yorker and the slower balls, etc. quite set, right? Kyle Jamieson has been a very solid inclusion to this squad. He's someone who is pretty consistent. He's bowling really well, at the top as well as towards the end. I think what they will be concerned about is the form of Chahal, and I think that's a bigger concern not just for RCB but for India, right? I'm not sure what is happening with him, but he's seems definitely below the best of what we have seen him over the last 3-4 years in general. And batting wise, I think performing Maxwell totally changes the equation of any team, right? So, which is a rare thing, but I think this season, I mean, it's worked out tactically for them that they're sending him ahead of De Villiers, so he basically can sort of play a few balls and then start going for his big shots. So that seems to be a formula that is working. ABD has been great, right, as usual. I mean, that nothing less than that is expected from him also. And Kohli has been good without being spectacular, right? And the last match, Padikkal, fully lived up to what is his potential. I mean, I don't think it's fair that for us to expect that he'll score very consistently, but what's good is that he carried on till the end. And so if you have an opener who is not your lead batsman but can win you 2 or 3 games in a season, or at least score really big, that really helps. So overall, I think the team is looking good. I think a lot of their struggles, I mean, later on in the tournament will be mental with all the baggage of not winning or performing in the important parts of the tournament in earlier years. So that's something for the team and also Kohli to sort of get over. I mean, an RCB win under Kohli will not really harm India's chances in the T20 World Cup. So, I hope others also get behind the team.
Yeah, right. Good points, Abhishek. So moving on, I think as Nirav mentioned, one of the surprises this year has been how well CSK has performed. And I think there are a few reasons for it. I'll kind of go through them one by one, what I think has helped. The first I think that has definitely helped is the return of Raina. He's kind of a beast in IPL, very consistent, and has been a solid performer for CSK throughout, right? And he is legit, a legit IPL legend of sorts, in the sense that his contribution to whenever CSK has won the title has been pretty big. So getting him back, after he had to depart at the last moment during the last IPL has definitely helped. The other thing that I think works for CSK is definitely Dhoni's captaincy in India in white ball cricket. I think Dhoni is a very, very good captain in white ball cricket in India, and him having the conditions also to help him and sort of the right bowlers as well. That definitely adds a lot to the team. It makes them even more formidable. uh, CSK had gone after Glenn Maxwell, right? But they couldn't get him because they suddenly were kind of priced out of the whole equation by RCB. They went in for Moeen Ali, who has done very well overall. I mean, if you look at his batting average, it's around 33, and his bowling average is 14, and he's done pretty well in terms of strike rate. He's striking at around 150. So Moeen Ali has been a very smart addition in for CSK in this IPL, and he's turned out a few good performances. Deepak Chahar, Abhishek mentioned, he's done well, 2 4 wicket hauls. He's probably, I think, been the best new ball bowler in this IPL, at least Indian new ball bowler, if not overall. Obviously, Faf du Plessis has been steady as always. He's, I think, their highest scorer and has scored at a decent sort of run rate. But having Faf du Plessis in there holding one end up helps CSK a lot. Sam Curran has been a bit of a miss with the ball, but he's done pretty well with the bat. He's striking pretty well. And another youngster, Ruturaj Gaikwad, who kind of failed in the first few games, came good in the last game, right? He scored 64 of 40 odd balls. So I think the team is looking good. They seem to have the right balance. They're obviously led by one of the best white ball captains of all time, MS Dhoni. I would be very, very surprised if they don't make it to the top three. I'm kind of still banking on, like Nirav, for MI to make a comeback and win a big chunk of the remaining games. So they'll make top two likely with DC. That's how I see it. So that's how I think CSK are in good shape. They might even make it to top two and the finals, right? All right. So let's move on. Another team which kind of has been disappointing over the last few years is Punjab, right? They've not done that well here. Also, they have won 2 games, but they've kind of not looked that great. They've looked a bit lackluster. Uh, so, I mean, I remember the last year when we did the IPL episode, we were kind of unanimous that Punjab was not going to make it to the playoffs, right? And I don't think they did.
And
So,
Punjab did not make the playoffs.
yeah.
For the
And I
record.
think I think we'll probably have that unanimity again if I were to take a poll right now. So, Neerav, is there any chance that Punjab can kind of improve and make it to the top four, considering how inconsistent they've been?
Yeah, so I think Punjab, I think they are going to be the wild card spoiler. So I think, see, we've seen like fantastic batting performance where they made like 220 runs versus Rajasthan Royals and won just barely by a whisker. They also so that was the first game that they played. Then they lost 3 on a trot. And then like yesterday, they beat Mumbai very convincingly where they bowled out Mumbai very well on a small score. And then just KL Rahul and Chris Gayle just batted Mumbai out, right? So I think what this team has a bit of like, there are a few. So like I think of like every IPL team has like a few set positions. If you look at like every team, so I think Rahul plays the more sheet anchor, longer opening batsman, and you have Mayank Agarwal playing the aggressor. In the bowling side, I think there are a couple of expensive recruits. Riley Meredith, Jai Richardson were very expensive. And because it was Chennai, they got in Fabian Allen, who, while international cricket hasn't done well, but he's like a very big star in the CPL. So maybe on turning tracks, the remaining games, they could use more of him. On their like Indian spinner, I think they've now got back Bishnoi. I think none of them are like super convincing. As in, yes, Bishnoi had a good day, but Bishnoi, Murugan Ashwin, or Jalaj Saxena, I think they've tried these three as like a spin bowler who can like tie up things in the middle overs and get wickets. So I think that is also missing. And I would like, we can't not talk about like Nicholas Pooran in this Punjab team. So he's been a guy who's had like a horrible IPL. Like, right, he scored a 2-ball duck, he scored a 1-ball duck, he scored a 0-ball duck. And I think a little bit is also like his role. In the middle order, he is playing some sort of a role like Ishan Kishan or like Hardik Pandya, where he has to just go right from ball one and just keep attacking. And once in a while, you get a few like a few kind of like unlucky dismissals. But I felt like him pulling a ball for like a 2nd-ball duck, where I think that was with Deepak Chahar versus Chennai. That was just bad judgment. And also going for a quick single when Chris Gayle is your other runner is never really safe. So I think that is what he got, like a diamond duck, right? So he's got a golden duck, silver duck, diamond duck. So maybe, I don't know, he could like, he's a very attacking batsman. He's got like fantastic IPS stats as well. Maybe he comes back. I don't see them reaching the playoffs. Some of their players like Deepak Huda or like Moises Henriques may not fire. Like they've been there for a few years, but they've been a little inconsistent. One surprise again, like here this time is Shah Rukh Khan. I don't know why Kolkata Knight Riders didn't buy him, but yeah, he's a guy who did well in the TNPL. He's 6'6". He's a very aggressive hitter right at the end, and he could be a match winner. We should see like one or two surprises, but yeah, I don't think they make the playoffs, but they'll surely spoil it for some of the middle-rung teams.
I
Right.
think Punjab actually have a good chance of making the playoffs if they don't keep shortchanging themselves. And this happens a lot when they're batting first, where they don't know what a winning score is. So Rahul, who is capable of scoring far more quickly than he has in recent times, he keeps holding himself back instead of putting away bad balls, or at least don't take as much strike as you are. What Kohli does is Kohli gives more of the strike to the aggressive partner, and he bites his time. That's at least better than what Rahul does, who takes a majority of the strike in a partnership with Gale or Mayank Agarwal. So not only is he scoring quickly, he's also facing more deliveries, which means that his partner has less time to ensure that the innings goes at a fast pace. So to that effect, I thought yesterday. So when they won the toss and elected to bowl first, everyone, including me, thought, what are they doing? Why are they bowling first in Chennai of all places? But then I thought about their previous matches, and in every game they batted first, and in every game they posted a below par total. Even the Rajasthan game, they really should have lost. It's just that Sanju Samson missed the six by 2 yards. So maybe chasing is something that they need to look at regardless of conditions, because that will allow Rahul to know this is the target, this is how I need to go to get this target. Otherwise, they're shooting in the dark, batting first, where they don't know what the right score is. So if they get a lot of games in which they happen to chase, and I'm sure Puran will come good sooner or later. He's too good a batsman not to. So if that happens, then I see them, scraping into the top four, because Rajasthan this season are, they're pretty much done for. Kolkata are also quite uninspiring. So I think you can more or less rule out these sides. And at the end of the day, it comes down to maybe one win between fourth and fifth or net run rate. Usually, it's either of these, right? Uh, so I think Punjab do have a chance of making the top four, but the caveat obviously is that Rahul stops doing what he's doing, and doesn't cost the team with his conservative approach.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair points, Mehak. Moving on, another team which is kind of somewhere in the middle this time, actually not doing very well at all. They won only one game, which is KKR. Uh, Abhishek, a team which at least looks pretty strong on paper. What do you think is going to happen? Like Mehak, do you think they're not going to make it to the top four? What do you think they need to change?
KKR has been kind of very inconsistent in their batting, right? And if you look, Shubman Gill sort of lost his form somewhere in the middle of the India-England Test series, right? And he's not really looked great since then. I mean, he did hit a few sixes the other day, but he's still not yet in, let's say, his last year or his Australia tour form, right? He's struggling. The only guy who's sort of been consistent for them is Nitish Rana, right? So he's looked good, and he's basically their leading batsman right now. But their big worry is also that Eoin Morgan is totally out of sorts. He hardly scored any runs in the T20 series versus India as well. He's hardly scored. He's like 45 runs in 4 games, so he's really struggling. And their bowling is also, it's a bit patchy. So they have Harbhajan Singh playing most of their matches, and Harbhajan Singh today is like at best sort of competent fifth bowler. but he's not the Harbhajan of 10 years back, who's going to give you breakthroughs or whom you can, bank on to change a match, right? In fact, Varun Chakravarti seems to be their lead spinner this season, and he's doing all right. But uh, he's certainly, and even him, I think over time, batsmen are going to pick him and deal with him, right? Andre Russell and Sunil Narayan have been their, sort of main players for the last 4-5 seasons. And I guess at least with Narayan, you can see, he's coming to the end of his sort of peak puff player cycle. And Russell is, I mean, he sort of is used as a 2-over bowler. I mean, that is good enough on some days where he picked up 5 wickets of 2 overs in one match. But again, he's not like performing in the way we have seen in the past, right? Taking the game or leading the charge for them. So Pat Cummins has been consistent, better than last season, or at least how he started last season. But overall, I think the team definitely lacks or needs their batsmen to come back into form. Even Dinesh Karthik, I mean, he played a nice little cameo the other day, but I was saying that this is the best I've seen since that innings against Bangladesh, actually. So he's actually, for a couple of years, he's not really looked fluent or, good that you would expect from an experienced player like him. So I think their batting needs to really get back into form sooner rather than later for them to have a chance. Given how the other teams are right now sort of performing and how their squads are, I don't think KKR has a great chance. I mean, of course, they can sneak in if they get some momentum and all that. But I would, as of now, I would say that it looks less likely that they will get into the top 4.
Right. Moving on, one team that Mehak mentioned when he was talking about Punjab was Rajasthan, and he thinks they're not going to make the playoffs. So Mehak, maybe time for you to tell us why not and what can change if they are to make it to the playoffs.
What can change? I don't know what can change. I don't see any way in which they can make the playoffs. So you put me in a spot there. Think the only way for them to do it is if Sanju Samson finally stops this blow hot, blow cold thing where he has this one wonderful innings and everyone is wondering why he's not in the Indian team. And then he just follows it up with 3 or 4 performances where he won't even cross. He's just not going to cut it now that they've lost Ben Stokes. So it's just a case of Sanju Samson finding that consistency. I think Josh Butler should be able to, have a good season from here. So I'm not that worried about him. But that's about the only way that they can find a place in the playoffs. Because Riyan Parag has done well. I think Tewatia had a nice little outing last time as well. So these guys are good for a couple of wins here and there put together. But the Stars will have to pull their weight for Rajasthan to have any chance of being in the top 4. And because Samson is the captain as well this time, he has to finish the season. He has just 150 plus scored, right, in 4 games. At the end of 14 matches, he has to have had at least 5 or 6 of them if they have to qualify. Without that, I don't think there's any chance.
Right. Lastly, let me talk about Sunrisers Hyderabad, a team that I think when we spoke about it the last time, almost like 6 months ago, I think Mehak had made this point that they're very top heavy side, and that hasn't changed a lot even in this season. They're still very reliant on Bairstow and Warner when it comes to getting runs, and if they don't fire or they don't get runs quickly, they're kind of struggling to put up a good total. Manish Pandey has batted reasonably well, but he's not batted quickly enough. His strike rate is just over 110, and in a T20 kind of setup, it's not really great. I think one thing that will definitely hurt them is Natarajan being injured for the rest of the tournament. He just, I think, announced that yesterday. That will hit them pretty hard because they're kind of reliant on his Yorkers, and he has a pretty good, at least maybe not this season, but earlier his economy rate has been pretty decent, and he's picked up wickets at the end. Uh, but clearly, with the injury and him not being there, that's probably going to hurt them quite a bit. Uh, Rashid Khan, of course, is he's an absolute star when it comes to T20, very very consistent, handy with the bat, great with the ball. Khalil Ahmed has also been pretty decent. So I think from a bowling standpoint, they're still doing okay, but some of the batsmen have to clearly pick up. So be it the likes of Manish Pandey, Vijay Shankar has been a complete disappointment. He even dropped, I think, a catch, if I remember right, of Pollard. So 2 out of the 3 Ds are kind of not working in his case, right? Uh, so I think the likes of Vijay Shankar, even Riddhiman Saha have to stand up. Possibly Jason Holder could come in, though I don't know in place of who. Kane Williamson is another person who's just played one game. I think it might make sense to actually have him in the middle order to kind of hold things up. With their kind of bowling attack, they don't really need to go all out and score big runs all the time. So having someone like a Kane Williamson in who can, make sure they kind of score 160, 170, that's something that with their bowling attack, they should be able to defend. But where they are right now, it's kind of really hard to see them make the playoffs unless, apart from Bairstow and Warner, some other players, other batsmen specifically, step up really quickly.
Actually, I want to add on this Sunrise.
Sure. Go ahead.
You see, like Jason Holder, he's got a terrific batting record in the CPL. And I think like that is some trick that they might be missing. Because their middle order looks very weak. And like I think Kane Williamson, Jason Holder, being the foreign players, in addition to obviously Rashid Khan and David Warner, you can't drop them. So I think that team, and you work around that, could probably be maybe on turning tracks. Holder may not fit into the team. They could take Mohammad Nabi or like another spinner. But I think that is something a Sunrisers team, as a team, I actually like it quite a bit because of Bhuvneshwar Kumar, because of like David Warner at a personal level. I think he can be like a little too annoying, but he's got a sense of humor. He's a very good captain, and he trusts younger Indian bowler. Like Natarajan has done very well under him. So that's one team I typically support, actually. But like they've always been disappointing last few years. And maybe they could just sneak in for the 4th spot, or like I think Punjab, they'll be a spoiler for a few. But it's a tough one.
Right. I think their biggest challenge is they don't have a strong Indian core, which is why they struggle. You can have only 4 foreign players in. All right, so that's
one problem. Just to add to what Nirav said, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who was supposed to be their most bankable bowler, is having a very bad season so far, right? So he has not taken even 2 wickets in a single game, and he's going at I think around 9 runs an over, and this is in Chennai where scores have been lower than the other venues. Right. So I think that's a major problem for them, that he was supposed to be their best pace bowler, and he's the one who's taking the most punishment. So obviously there are issues with the middle order, them being top heavy. Still, that problem still persists, and maybe Kane Williamson can fix that to an extent. But even if he does that, their bowling leaves a lot to be desired, because Bhuvi's 4 overs are not getting them the kind of returns that they have usually had and what they would expect from him.
Yeah. So that brings us to to the end. That's a wrap of this episode. So from next week, what we will do is we look at individual games, some of the key games and performances from each week, and I'll be joined by Mehak, Nirav, and Abhishek as we analyze, games in a little more detail. So keep watching, stay safe, and Jai Hind.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Bharat Varta podcast. If you want to see more content like this, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We started Bharat Varta to facilitate long-form discussions on politics, policy, and culture. We don't necessarily endorse anything that was said in this episode. If you wish to offer us feedback, do reach out to us on social media. We are at Bharat Varta on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You could also get in touch with us on our website, www.bharatvarta.in. The links are in the description below. Until next time, stay safe, take care, and Jai Hind.